Hello friends and welcome to our channel RN Online Tutorials. Today we are going to learn about the cephalosporins in pharmacology section. So let's begin with the definition. So what are cephalosporin? Cephalosporin are a group of semi-synthetic antibiotics derived from Cephalosporium C obtained from a fungus Cephalosporium. So they are obtained from a fungus as like penicillin. Penicillin is also obtained from a fungus and cephalosporins are also obtained from a fungus. Let's move to the mechanism of action. So cephalosporins act by inhibiting bacterial cell wall synthesis in a manner similar to penicillin, and they are bactericidal, means they are killing the bacteria. They are not bacteriostatic, they are bactericidal. Let's move ahead to the classification of the cephalosporin. So let's see the first generation cephalosporin. So cephalosporin are divided in several generations like first, second, third, fourth. So let's move to the first generation cephalosporin. So first generation cephalosporin are predominantly act against gram positive organisms such as Staphylococcus, Pneumococcus and Streptococcus, but also they are less effectively active against common gram negative organisms such as E. coli, Klebsiella and Proteus, but they are not effective against Salmonella, Shigella or Pseudomonas. So what we can see over here, they are active against gram positive, less active against gram negative and not active against Salmonella, Shigella, Pseudomonas like this serious infection. So because of all this, they are not considered the agent of choice for any serious systemic infection. So we can use them for a treatment like upper respiratory tract infection, minor wound infection, etc. But we cannot consider them for a serious systemic infection. And some example from this are cefazolin, cephalexin and cefotroxil are the commonly used from the first generation cephalosporin. So let's revise this once again. Active against gram positive, less active against gram negative, not acting against Shigella, Salmonella, Pseudomonas, and we cannot use them for a serious infections. So let's move to the second generation cephalosporins. They offer a wide coverage against gram negative. So as we move ahead from first to second, second to third and third to fourth, the coverage against gram negative will be increasing. They are more resistant to the beta lactamases. Then their main use is to treat gram negative infection caused by beta lactamase producing organism including Haemophilus influenzae. So in the chapter of penicillin we have seen what is beta lactamase. It is an enzyme produced by the bacteria which inhibit the action of the antibiotic which we are giving to kill them. So they are producing this chemical to prevent the action of antibiotic. So we are giving antibiotic which is effective against the beta lactamase producing organisms such as Haemophilus influenzae, and they are less active on gram positive cocci and are inactive against anaerobe and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. So what we have seen here is they offer wide coverage against gram negative, more resistant to beta lactamase. Their main use is a gram negative infection, less active on gram positive and inactive against Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Means still we are not able to use them as a broad range antibiotic. So some examples are cefuroxime, which is a very commonly prescribed antibiotic in here in India. Then cefoprazil are some example of the second generation cephalosporin. So let's move to the third generation cephalosporin. So what are third generation cephalosporin? Are more active against the gram negative bacilli than the first and second generation cephalosporins. So as I have said, as we move to the third, fourth generation, the activity against gram negative will be increasing. So in addition, they possess anti-pseudomonal activity. So first and second generation cephalosporin was not covering against Pseudomonas, means they were not active against Pseudomonas aeruginosa, but in this third generation cephalosporin we can use them against the Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Then they have poor activity against gram positive cocci. As we have seen from first generation, they were active against gram positive, second less active, then they third generation are the poor active against gram positive. The CNS penetration of this drug is better than that of first two generation drugs, means they can cross the blood brain barrier, that's why we can use them in a brain infection like meningitis. So indications are aminoglycoside resistant or multi-resistant gram-negative bacillary infection. So we are using this in some aminoglycoside or other antibiotic resistant bacteria or multiple resistant gram-negative bacillary systemic infection, means we can use them for a systemic serious life-threatening infection. And example are cefotaxime, cefixime, ceftriaxone, cefdinir, ceftadisime, then cefoperazone. These are some common examples that we are using with the third generation cephalosporin. So now let's move to the fourth generation cephalosporin. So what are these? So properties like those of third generation cephalosporin, but it is more resistant to some beta lactamases, means some bacteria which produce the beta lactamase enzyme, so they are more resistant to those beta lactamase producing bacteria and help to kill them. So they are more active against streptococci and methicillin sensitive staphylococci, but not against methicillin resistance Staphylococcus aureus. So we cannot use them against the MRSA, but we can use them against the streptococci and other sensitive strains of Staphylococcus, but not against MRSA. Its main use is in a serious gram-negative infections. Infection of the CNS into which it has a excellent penetration. So like third generation, fourth generation are more active in a CNS infection, means they can cross the blood brain barrier and we can use them for a serious meningitis or other brain infection. And examples are cefepime and cefepirome. So these were the fourth generation of the cephalosporin. So what we have learned from this is, first generation is active against gram positive, second generation onwards the activity for the gram positive get decreased and activity for gram negative is constantly increasing. And also first generation we cannot use for the systemic serious infection, but we can use for the simple URTI and or common infection, but as a generation increase we can use them for the systemic serious infection. So this was about the fourth generation of the cephalosporin. Now let's move and look at the adverse effect. So what are the adverse effect? Mainly the local reaction, IM injection are painful and IV injection can cause thrombophlebitis. They can cause allergy in a form of skin rash, fever, then serum sickness, then some anaphylactic like reaction can also come, then eosinophilia, neutropenia, transient splenomegaly and increased SGOT level also seen in some cases, but anaphylaxis chance is much less than the penicillin class antibiotic. Then drug fever, cephalosporin are among the common causes of the drug fever, means if you give this drug to the patient will develop fever without any other cause. Then super infection, this is a common challenge in current world. The super infection with resistant organism can occur during the therapy, generally with broad spectrum and third generation agent, means if you give third generation cephalosporin there is a fair chance of getting super infection. Then diarrhea, it is more common with the cefoperazone which undergoes biliary excretion. So cefoperazone basically is excreted in by bile, so it can cause diarrhea to the patient. Then it can cause nephrotoxicity, CNS toxicity, hematological toxicity in which impairment of the hemostasis may result in thrombocytopenia, neutropenia and hemolytic anemia may rarely occur, and they can cause disulfiram like reaction, the cefoperazone disulfiram like effect when ingested with alcohol. So main important thing you have to inform to your patient that don't take alcohol with the cefoperazone, as it can act like disulfiram and give severe discomfort and vomiting and all these symptoms to the patient. And cephalosporin should be avoided if patient is with a history of severe allergy to penicillin, because if the patient has severe allergy to penicillin, there are fair chances that the patient may have allergy to the cephalosporin also. So which patient have severe allergy to the penicillin, we should not give the cephalosporins to that patient. So we have seen the side effect like local reaction, allergy, drug fever, super infection, diarrhea, nephrotoxicity, CNS toxicity, hematotoxicity, disulfiram reaction with the ceftriaxone. Then we should avoid with the history of severe allergy to penicillin. So this is what today we have learned about the cephalosporin. So if you like our video, please like, share and subscribe our channel, and also hit the bell icon so that you will get regular update about our educational videos. So that's it with today. Thank you for watching.